Welcome to The Real Deal, where it's all about businesses in central Massachusetts and northeastern Connecticut. And now, your host, Anthony Shabbat of Shabbat & Associates.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Real Deal Business Podcast. My name is Anthony Shabbat with Shabbat & Associates Real Estate Group of EXP. And on today's show, a very influential and important person, in my opinion, in northeastern Connecticut. His name is Jim Rivers, and he is the town manager for Wyndham Connecticut. Welcome to the podcast, Jim.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to have you. Actually, you're an interesting person. We've spoken on the phone before, but I never really realized what an important part you are of northeastern Connecticut, because I didn't realize that you were the town manager of Wyndham, because I'm always stuck in Putnam and Killingly and that little bubble over there. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and first let's start out with contact information, if that's possible.
Yeah, anybody can try to reach out to me here at Town of Wyndham, which is town manager at wyndhamct.com. Phone number here is 860-465-3004. That's my direct line if anybody wants to try to reach me.
Excellent. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. And tell us a little bit about your background. Were you born in the area? What types of businesses have you been involved with over the years? Give us a little bit of a mini biography there.
Yes, I'm a northeastern born, bred, raised guy here, and I ended up in this position here probably from many of those experiences. I grew up in Killingly. I went to Killingly High School. My family is from Putnam. It's from Killingly, multiple generations from both of those towns. I actually have some real old family that came from the town of Wyndham, which I just realized a few months ago. They're buried here. My grandmother was born here. So I'm all over eastern Connecticut. My family has been. I went to Thames Valley State Technical College, 2 years, Connecticut, which is now Three Rivers.
Right.
And I went from there to Eastern Connecticut State University. I had a time in the military. I was in the National Guard around the same time, the Connecticut Army National Guard. I was stationed in Rockville, Connecticut as an infantryman. And went on after that. I joined Rogers Corporation in Rogers in their research facility when I was going to school. And then later on I was a manager at the South Wyndham Rogers Corporation facility, another tie to Wyndham. Mm-hmm. I was the manager out there, a manufacturing manager in their plant here. So I continued to go to school for a number of years. I say I was on the 20-year plan, 4-year degree, and then I went on to receive an MBA, my Master's in Business Administration, from Rensselaer Polytech. In the meantime, I started many of my own businesses. One of them was real estate investment. I owned a lot of property, primarily residential, lower income in the Plainfield, Killingly, Putnam, Pomfret area. Most of that I've transitioned into commercial property. I don't have much of the residential anymore. In Danielson, I own 3 of the bigger buildings in Danielson on Main Street, and nicer buildings, I'll call them. Things are going pretty well there. So I spend some of my time there, but I've been in the real estate business about 30 years on and off, to a lesser extent now than I once was, because I'm a little busy. I'm a little busy running the town of Wyndham. In the middle of all that manufacturing career, I went to some other facilities in New Bedford and Worcester. I also ended up as the first selectman in the town of Pomfret. For 4 terms, I was elected there.
Wow. Yeah.
And prior to that, I was on the Board of Finance. So I had some. So I did a lot of this in parallel. I was, in the military on and off. I was a real estate investor for, pretty much continuously up and down. But I had different careers in municipalities and then also in the private sector. I worked for 5 years as a chief financial officer for a mortgage banking company.
Wow, that's a great background.
John DiOrio's company, First Alliance Lending.
I had no idea.
And in Hartford, and we we served a lot of people post recession, the Great Recession.
Oh yeah, I heard all about it. Yeah.
Trying to get their homes back to the people that were on the verge of foreclosure.
Right.
So we did a lot of that work, and we helped thousands of people. So that was a good job. We made some money and helped a lot of folks. So that was a great experience. So all those experiences came together, and I was offered the job here in Wyndham as the town manager, which kind of encompasses all these things, real estate, finance, municipal experience. Military, helps me out with some of what we do here, and I'm, doing the job now that I always wanted to do. It's kind of a collection of all the things I've done in the past. So
very interesting. What an eclectic background. That
yeah, I like to keep busy and doing a lot of different things. I don't get bored quickly. I don't like to keep just one thing. I think a lot of people like that. I like to keep to be dynamic and keep moving. Although I've stayed in some places for quite a while. I was at Rogers for like 13 years, and I stayed in the real estate business for 30 years, but I don't move around a lot, but I just like doing different things. So, here I am in Wyndham. I'm over 2 years into the job here. Time goes by fast. I have about 3 years left on my contract. I hope to stay here for the rest of my working years. I don't have too many years left, and but I'm all over Eastern Connecticut. I try to go to as many events as I can because with my wife Kelly, we try to just to enjoy ourselves. The areas, this is the perfect place to live in the whole world, and why go anywhere else? I've traveled in other places for business and pleasure, and I always seem to come back here as this is the best place to live. So I really love it here, and I want to try to make it better. So I've tried to do that in town of Pomfret. I try to do that with some of my business projects, and I also owned the Key Gym for some years, which we had 5 locations. Again, all in Eastern Connecticut. It was a 24-hour access facility. I still own one that's in Pomfret that's open, but it's more of a hobby these days than a business. We don't put as much time into it, but we're still open. But again, I like to do that too, so I didn't want to give that up. So I got my tentacles out there and everything, and I enjoy it. So. I'm enjoying it. I really enjoy it.
Impressive.
So
that's how we met. Was at the commercial. Well, more recently, we met at the commercial real estate meetup at the town of Wyndham Town Hall. Put on with the Bill Chang and Carolyn Trotta and everybody, all the local commercial.
Yeah, it was good to see people. I've seen another experiences.
Bill Kuchar was there.
My hat was like, "What are you doing here? Are you here for the real estate?" They think I'm here because of the real estate experience. Because I have quite a bit of commercial, and no, I'm the town manager here. And some of them didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I just haven't seen them in a while.
I can't believe I never heard that. Because and then that goes to show you what a disconnect there is between Killingly and Putnam and William.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm trying to improve is that connection, because it's all Wyndham County, and there's not too many of us. The population isn't that great here. That Wyndham is a place. When I was younger, we would come to shop. We'd come to Willimantic before malls. Before
Nassif's. I used to go to
we used to go to Nassif's before malls, and then now, of course, the online shopping experiences. And we're trying to reinvigorate that. I mean, there's the resurgence to downtowns. Young people not into that single-family home and that big yard to take care of. They want experiences. They want to be on a main street. They want to go to the coffee shop or the restaurant.
I definitely see.
They want to have fun, right?
I'm like that personally.
They work by day, and then they want to have some fun the rest of the time. They don't want to take care of a house and a lawn.
Yeah, me. I have no interest in that.
So we're trying to accommodate that.
And I'm 47.
I think about that, but I'm still stuck in the take care of stuff. I'm, for whatever reason, mentally or physically or financially, whatever, I'm stuck. But my kids don't want to do that. They want to be in a nice place to live, but they don't want to have to do any work on it.
Yeah, I'm with them on that. Yeah.
And even some older people, I think, are feeling like, why am I a slave to my house?
I think a lot of people are realizing that maybe what they wanted before, which was the biggest house you could possibly get, the most impressive house you can have.
A castle. They want the castle.
Yeah, with the huge lawn and all this land and all this stuff, and then they realize, like, wow, this is a lot of work. And I don't want to have to mow my lawn for 2 hours, 3 hours at a shot. So, we just...
And we collect things when you have bigger spaces, right? So if you have a smaller space, you don't... Those types of things aren't on your mind. You're not trying to collect... that's why antiques are down.
Right, minimize
you can see how the trends... The cultural trends are changing.
Yeah.
So here in Wyndham, we're trying to move with the culture, and we got a lot of projects on Main Street in particular because that seems to be where people want to be. Still have a lot of nice homes out in the more rural sections of town, but really the emphasis of investment and where people want to live seem to be with a higher density areas of the town. And I think people out in Putnam, Killingly, Plainfield, when I say this, that it's not quite registering that Willimantic's on a resurgence here. You're seeing people come back into the city where for many years it was stay away from there. The crime is high. There's nothing happening.
Yeah, I've heard.
The shops have closed.
Over the years.
It's the opposite now. The crime is lower here. We have the services and the facilities to accommodate any issues that may come up. We have a lot of 44 police officers. We have a crime rate that is half the state average here in Willimantic. So people haven't got that news yet, but that was really taken care of before I got here. I didn't accomplish that. But what we're trying to accomplish is bring some new housing stock, new retail spaces, renovate and redevelop some of the older spaces that are here, and that's happening. We're really being successful in that regard. Again, taking advantage of the economy, taking advantage of the cultural changes, and we're trying to make it happen.
Well, I was really impressed at the recent commercial real estate meeting and all the information that I learned at that meeting. And I also realized that you're involved with the opportunity zones. And who's the other gentleman that I asked you about with the...
Probably Jim Bolano,
That's
who's
the guy, yeah.
Director of Economic Development here. And he's done a great job. He's from the western side of the state. We have an interesting team here. Really, the town council has really tried to emphasize economic development. So they brought Jim Bolano in. He's sort of a western side of the state guy. He's got a lot of connections.
Nice.
They brought me in for the eastern side of the state
Yeah.
and have connections and knowledge of what's going on this way. And then we had Yukshan, who is Jim's right hand. She comes from the middle of the state towards Hartford, so she has all those connections. So we have an all-star team here, and we're very well connected with those people with money or knowledge or government agencies or whatever throughout the state. And that's, I think, why we're seeing a lot of success here.
Another thing you do that's kind of interesting and ties in with what we're doing in Northeastern, when I say Killingly and Putnam, they do First Fridays in Putnam. We do Second Saturdays in Killingly now. I know they do First Fridays in Norwich. But you guys do Third Thursdays in Willimantic, right?
Third Thursday started here about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and I think that's where
And a beer garden.
I know
Right.
they helped in the beer garden, of
Yeah.
course. They helped with the First Fridays in Putnam. I think
that's
they had
awesome.
some communication, and we're glad to share what we've learned, successes, failures. But we've and on the flip side, the stage was built in Putnam some years ago, and we kind of copied that idea. We just built a huge stage and tried to do it better than Putnam, of course. But we're a bigger town, so it made sense to have a bigger.
Let's talk population a little bit. I know your population over here is way bigger than it is in.
We're 25,000.
25, okay.
Something that doesn't really register with everybody too is it's a town of Wyndham. Willimantic is not a town. It's not even really a city. It is a special service district where police and fire services
Like Danielson.
Right.
Okay.
It's like the borough of
Killingly.
Danielson and Killingly. So it's not really its own entity, although there's 44 police officers, there's 28 professional firefighters, and they all work for me. So the structure of the town is everybody sort of reports to me as a town manager. But we have separate tax bills that go out for these other services. So that's at one time Willimantic was its own city. It had its own mayor, and now today it's combined.
Interesting. Yeah, it's really neat.
But a lot of people call it, hey, I'm going to the town of Willimantic. You'll see people write that online sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's no town of Willimantic. Not even really a city. I mean, I call it the city, but it's really all of Wyndham.
Very interesting. Yeah. So, who runs the Third Thursdays? Is there a Willimantic Business Association or?
No, there's an organization, or a Renaissance, and there are individuals that have been sticking with it for years that have, it's not the town's event, although we support it greatly with police and fire coverage. We close the street, and we have to do all the inspections for the vendors, and so we're part of the team there, but it's volunteers. A lot of what's driven here in Wyndham is by volunteers.
And that's what I see, and I think that's what's going to make the positive change is the people that care about the communities, that are involved with the communities, that are planning these events and going around and making sure everything looks good. And these are the people that walk around and will pick up.
It's their
litter
town.
And,
they got to
it.
make it happen. And budgets keep getting squeezed. So we don't have extra people to run these events. In fact, we struggle. The stage is owned by the town. So we're struggling with the resources. We added the stage. We didn't add any resources to manage the stage. Right. So we're trying to bring in some volunteers. It's to some extent. and figure that out. So that's something we haven't quite settled on.
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation right now has charge of the stage for the most part, and we had about 14 events there this year. Some bigger than
great.
others. Some of the events drew 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Excellent.
We just had Get the Lead Out, which is the Led Zeppelin cover band, but
great things about it.
They're a national act, and we had 3,000 or 4,000 people. It was a great time. We have a big field there. It's a 3-acre area inside the fence, and we can accommodate on paper 9,000, realistically probably 6,000 people with the vendors and everybody else on the field.
And you guys have a lot of projects going on right now to improve. Should we call it Willimantic or Wyndham?
Well, it's the area of Willimantic, but it's Wyndham. It's downtown,
Right, so it's like, I guess you could still call it Danielson, Killingly?
We still call it Willimantic.
Okay.
That's not a bad word.
I always call it Willimantic.
It's still Willimantic.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
So you have a lot of projects going on in Willimantic right now, and a lot of big changes coming on, improvements going on. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So starting down by the stage, which is on the corner of Jackson and Main Street, where the Frog Bridge is, for those people that have been out here driving around, there's an 8-acre parcel. They call it the major parcel. And the stage takes about 3 acres, 3 to 4 acres. There's the Gilson House, which is the old historic house there on the corner. But then kind of to the side, there's a big parking lot, 200-space parking lot, where the movie theater used to be.
I know.
We purchased that a couple years ago and tore it down. And that's where the community center is going. A senior center and community center.
Very visible location.
It's a beautiful building.
Right next to the Frog Bridge.
Design has already been done. Construction plans have been done. We're bidding it out right now. So we're hopeful. It's about a $15 million project.
Okay.
Full-size swimming pool, full-size gymnasium, a lot of other utility rooms, wrestling rooms. But 10,000 square feet is dedicated to the seniors in Wyndham. They've been looking for a new senior center for a long time, and they deserve it.
Yeah, wow.
Their current center is not a very, it's not a great building, and it doesn't really accommodate the number of seniors that we have in town here. So that's the town's big project. The other big project for the town is a parking garage, 300-space parking garage.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Right in the middle of the town. We have a $6 million grant that's been awarded to us by the state.
That's huge.
It's about a $11 or $12 million project, and we're bidding that out right now too. So these projects are going to start up right about the same time, end of this year, beginning of next year, shovels in the ground. But in the meantime, we have a lot of private sector projects. In particular, one developer has options on 6 properties on Main Street. And he's coming into zoning right now. He has designs through design phase, but not construction plans on those properties. And he's coming to zoning this month in September.
So what do you mean he's coming to zoning? Who is
He's looking for approvals to move his project forward.
So he's a property owner?
He's a property owner.
Okay.
It's all private money. There's no state, federal money. He is taking advantage of that opportunity zone that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And that opportunity zone
Perfect tie-in.
is a good tie-in. It's primarily for distressed communities, and it's to incent people with money that want to invest. It's a tax incentive. It's a federal tax incentive. And it forgives a lot of prior profits. So you take profits that you made somewhere else and can reinvest those profits. And what it does for the investor is it gives them a great incentive to invest this money in these types of areas. So they may not have to pay any tax if they hold on to the project after 10 years. So there's a holding period, but a great incentive for them to make that investment.
I'm really interested in that opportunity zone, and actually I was at the commercial meetup the other day. I learned that there's an opportunity zone meeting coming up that we might want to talk about. I don't know if you're familiar with that or if that's something.
Yeah, there's a lot of those meetings because people still don't understand how the whole process works. And I guess there's a meeting coming up September 17th at the Wyndham Club. Where we're going to have various agencies. Actually, it's not just the talk about the opportunity zone, but we're going to have various agencies.
I'll be there.
You're going to see Small Business Administration. You're going to see the Commerce Department there. Really, emphasis on federal agencies that can help, business development
and grants, right?
And grants. Yeah, these are all the grant agencies. USDA is going to be there, I think. So we're going to have all the agencies in one room. A number of towns are going to show up, ask questions. And
Very interesting.
It's a great get-together, I think.
So that's Tuesday, September 17th, 2019 at the Wyndham Club, 184 Club Road, North Wyndham. 8:30 coffee and registration, and 9 o'clock to noon is the program. So
yeah,
very interesting.
Hope to see everybody there, especially leaders and economic development people.
Right.
I will be there. I'll probably be making the opening remarks to welcome
great.
everyone to Wyndham. But it's a great facility overlooking the golf course, and to see all those agencies in one room should be very productive, I think.
Awesome. So now, just out of curiosity, I don't know how involved you get in the enterprise zone. We didn't cover what we were going to talk about in this podcast. We just kind of
we're winging it.
Brief overview.
Yeah.
So we are totally winging it. Is the enterprise zone anything that you can talk about, or?
So this is also enterprise zone.
Okay.
So you get, if you want to come invest in Wyndham, in downtown Wyndham or Willimantic, you get opportunity zone, to take your money, and you can take advantage of the federal tax breaks, but you also get enterprise zone, which is a local tax incentive, and the standard agreement is a 7-year incentive to reinvest into properties that are here. And basically, in the first couple of years, your taxes are frozen, and then gradually they go up based on your investment.
Okay.
So that's kind of the enterprise zone in a nutshell. The enterprise zone for us covers more area than the opportunity zone. The opportunity zone is from here, like Town Hall, down to the Frog Bridge, or a little bit beyond that.
Yeah.
The enterprise zone goes beyond that here in Wyndham. It goes further up Main Street. Again, the enterprise zone is fairly common in most communities in Connecticut, depending on your wherewithal and whether you're a distressed municipality or not. But we have more enterprise zone here than we have opportunity zone.
Got it.
Again, you can get both at the same time.
Right.
So if you come downtown Willimantic here, you can take advantage of both of those. And that's what this investor is doing. He's looking to make a $150 million investment, and he's looking for these tax incentives to help make it work.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
It's 450 housing units when the project is completed, with 40,000 square feet of retail.
Incredible. Any realtors involved in that, or is that all just?
There is a realtor. There is a realtor that he latched onto here locally,
Wow.
Dave Machinsky, and his firm has been helping out.
Be an
with,
interesting guy for me to interview too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been kind of keeping a low profile. I mean, he's still trying to work different. He's negotiating on different properties throughout town. He's not done. He seems to be acquiring more property, and we have other investors. When you see the big whale come into town, what do you want to do as an investor? You want to get there before the values go up. So we're seeing that people are investing in the properties they already have, or they are. We have other developers acquiring property as we speak. So it's that momentum and that you want to try to create, and we have it right now. Hopefully, it'll continue.
Well, we're getting close to our cutoff time, and I know I don't want to make you late for your next appointment. So let's. Can I ask you a couple other questions? Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get into the final questions?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. We're trying to get the word out really here.
Great.
A lot of things are happening. We got all these social media tools, and
Yes.
and we're trying to take advantage of them to get the word out. Come to Wyndham, whether you're an investor, whether you're just shopping. There's more going on here. It's one of the safest cities in Connecticut. I think we're the 30th safest city in Connecticut out of 85. And in fact, the safest on this side of the river, one of the most safe cities on this side of the river. So things are really happening. It's not, a lot of rumors out there what Willimantic or Wyndham was. That's not the case anymore. We got a lot going on here. A lot has changed. So I encourage you to come check it out, rediscover Wyndham.
Okay, excellent. So before we wrap it up, I always like to give the contact information again. So if anybody missed it in the beginning.
Yeah, it's Jim Rivers. I can be reached by email at townmanager@wyndhamct.com. The phone number here is 860-465-3004. And I hope to see everybody around in Eastern Connecticut, Putnam, Danielson, Killingly, here in Wyndham. You see me around town.
Okay, and then the final question I always like to ask people is, if you could look back in your career when you were just getting started, is there anything that you wish you would have known back then that would help you get started in your career?
Oh, that's a good question. I probably would have spent more time in banking than manufacturing. I learned a lot in manufacturing, and manufacturing is like boot camp for if anybody's worked in that industry. It's a tough industry. I would have spent more time in banking only because I think it's a better job. That's what I tell all the young people. Look, get yourself a nice professional job, and go to school. Banking is a nice career. I dabbled in it, towards the end here, but it's a nice career, and you get to see a lot of people, and it's climate controlled, and I guess it's just weird, but I always tell people that. And if you're going to join the military, don't go in the infantry like I did. Learn a career, a skill. Be a technical person or anything about infantry. Everybody gets to run around and have a rifle and shoot the gun or whatever. If that's what you think the military is, that's not what the military is anymore. There's so much more to it than that. It's really it's more technical jobs. Don't waste your time on an infantry position. So anyway, those are my 2 life lessons for everyone that I have learned in my and finish school. I took too long to finish school. I tell my kids that all the time. Get through school as quick as you can. You get distracted with all the other life experiences. And so those are the 3 lessons I give everybody that I would have done different maybe.
I would have gone to UConn for 4 years for a bachelor's in business management personally. But I don't know if that would have been, it's kind of like an all-around thing. I think you could use it in just about any
there's a lot of options there, a lot of career options.
But you have the bachelor's, you get the business management experience, which is definitely helpful for me. I went to school for electronics, unfortunately, which I am a technology guy. So I love technology, and it works pretty well for me. But
it's good to have both. That's the answer.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I went to engineering school for 2 years, so that has helped me through my life for sure. You have to have that technical expertise. Certainly as a generalist, you can understand what other people are telling you. Learn that language anyway. Learn the language.
And one final thing before we close it out: how can people get involved to help Wyndham improve? What can we do? What can the regular person do? We
need volunteers to serve on boards and commissions, and every town needs that, and that's what drives a town. There are 100 positions, and we have a lot of empty positions. People are busy; they got their lives and stuff that they're with their kids and families.
Everybody dedicates even a small amount of time.
If everybody helps a little bit, nobody's got to work a lot.
That's
and you have
exactly
a few people that seem to do a lot of the work.
All the time.
It'd be better to have more people doing less work, and that's what I always tell people. And when I was in Pomfret, that's how we ran the town, through volunteers. We didn't have a lot of professionals to help us, and we had to have the volunteers. And here in Wyndham, we could use more volunteers, and there are openings on just about all the boards.
Who do they get in touch with? Just call
They can come
town
here to
hall?
town manager's office.
Okay.
Call town hall. We'll hook them up online. All the positions are usually put on our website, Town of Wyndham's website, and you can see those open positions. But you make an application out, and then you go before the town council, and usually they don't refuse any warm body that wants to help out.
So you just get involved at some level, any level, an hour a month, few hours a month.
Sure.
Do what you can to get involved, and you become aware of what's going on in the community and how you can help make it a better place.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate it. And if anybody has any questions or knows of somebody that would like to be interviewed on this podcast, my name is Anthony Shabbat, Shabbat & Associates Real Estate Group of EXP, and my phone number is 508-847-0902. Also, anthonyshabbat@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and have a great day.